Hello, hello. Welcome. Okay, there we go. Hello. Welcome to the stream. I think I'm live. I think I'm working. Hopefully. I didn't get a chance to really check. Crossing my fingers, everything is working. My name is Axel from Good Speaking English. Great to have you here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you guys are having a really great weekend. Yeah, so I'm here today. We're gonna do this crossword. This is not today's crossword. Today's crossword was pretty hard. So I took a look back at some of the older crosswords. We're gonna do a little bit of an older crossword today, but the language in here I think is better. Better for us all to do. So what's gonna happen is we are going to go through this and we are going to work on this together. I am going to walk us through. I'm going to talk about the question. I'm going to explain it. And then I'm going to give you guys alternative clues, hints, maybe some images, definitions, all sorts of information to help you guys figure out the answers with me. And then when I see the answer in the chat, I will put it up on the board and then we'll go to the next question and finish the crossword that way. So there are 3 places you can participate. I am live right now on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, so you can play at either in any one of those places. I have the chats open so I can see you there. Feel free to say hello too. I love when people say hi. But yeah, so if you think you know an answer as I go through, or if you have any other additional questions or comments and things like that, feel free to just type them in the chat. And yeah, we'll move through and we're gonna finish out. We're gonna figure out this crossword together. So there are a couple important things you should know. First of all, though, before we start, I have a couple of rules about how this is going to work. So my first rule is no cheating. So don't go online, don't start Googling the answers, things like that. I'm going to help you figure out the answer, so don't worry about it. I'll give you guys alternative clues, things like that. So we'll be able to figure it out together. Also, please follow the conversation. So, for example, if we are talking about question number 2, don't start talking about question number 18. Okay, let's try to follow the question. Also, too, I'm probably going to take time to discuss some vocabulary phrases, things that come up along the way. So try to be patient and just try to follow along. Like I said, don't ruin it for everybody. Also, too, because the chat is open, please be nice to one another. So let's create a friendly learning environment where everybody feels like they can participate without feeling judged or embarrassed, anything like that. Let's also be nice to me as well, because sometimes I also make mistakes. I am only human, and I also am not using the internet to complete this crossword. It's also important to know that this is an American crossword. So that means that American spelling is going to be used. So there are some differences between American and British spelling. I have a couple sort of general rules up on the, or some examples, I should say. I have some examples on the screen for you. There's also sometimes differences too in just, the terms of vocabulary that we use. So everything will be American in this unless indicated otherwise. Also, too, because it is an American crossword, if there are questions about trivia, usually it's about the United States or American pop culture, that sort of thing. However, luckily, we won't need to know a lot of information about trivia. The majority of the questions in this crossword are going to be about language, so we won't have to worry about it. Also, a really useful thing to know is that often, or not often, but the answers always match the questions. So for example, if in the question there is a plural, there is also going to be a plural in the answer. If there is a verb conjugated some way, like the third person singular in the question, there will also be a verb conjugated to the third person singular in the answer. So that is really helpful. That helps me all the time. So you'll see me plugging in little S's and EDs sometimes, because all of that stuff is going to match. Also, too, useful to know that multiple word answers are possible. And this crossword is not going to tell us when something is a multiple word answer. So hopefully I will know. I will be able to point it out. I will write it on the board to help you guys figure it out. But yeah, sometimes the answers are going to be phrasal verbs, maybe common phrases, title of a movie or a book, something like that. Even just parts of sentences. Every now and then they'll have like a little gap fill, like what would go to finish this common phrase. So that kind of thing is common in this crossword. And also too, because we are here to learn about English or review English, it's important to know that there are words in here that you will not be able to use in real life. So some words are going to be kind of really formal, archaic, stuff like that. I will point out when something is useless, so I'll try to let you know. If something is really rare, I'll let you know. However, we will review a lot of really useful things. So this is still going to be a really excellent activity for us to do for our English, regardless of any words that are kind of rare. Alright, so let's get to it, because I know I'm running a little bit late today, but let's get right to it. So I'm going to switch my thing back over, I think. Possibly. Yes. I'm gonna switch my things over, get the right stuff on my screen. Oh no, and I got a bad gateway error on the website that I typically use to grab pronunciations. So hopefully I won't need a lot of pronunciations today, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Anyways, okay. So let's get right to it. So again, like I said, you can participate either on Facebook, let's just say Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So the addresses are at the bottom of the screen, and if you think you know what an answer is, put it in the chat. And the quicker I get answers, the quicker this will go. So, alright, amazing. Alright, so let's see here. So this first one here, floats on the breeze. What does it mean to like float? Typically something would float in water, right? So it kind of just like, you'll have a body of water maybe, and something kind of just rests at the top of the body of water. But here, a breeze, what is a breeze? A breeze is kind of like, it's kind of like wind. It's wind, like air that moves. So here, something floating on breeze, it's probably in the sky somehow, okay? So floats on the breeze. We can see here too that there's an S here. So like I said, these are always going to match, so I'm going to put a S there. And then we have here, this one here, one down. Used to be. So used to be. So we know that it's something used to be, used to. This refers to something that was, you know, true in the past, that is no longer true today, right? So we typically use used to talk about maybe old habits, things that we used to do all the time, things that were true for a certain period previously that are no longer true today. So we can see that obviously used to as well refers to the past, right? Simple past. So we're basically looking for a synonym for this, basically. So we have a 3-letter word synonym for used to be. So we're looking for the past form of a verb, and I'm going to guess that we're looking for, because it's used to be, we're looking for maybe the past form of this verb, maybe be. So if you know what that is, put it in the chat. This pretty basic English 101. So basically, the past form of be. So if you know what that is, put it in the chat. And then we'll move on. So again, you can participate. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Past form of be. Really simple one to start here. So let me know. I think this was going to be was, right? Was is going to be the past form of be, right? Or at least one of them. I know there's also were, right? For example. And then we have been, past participle, right? Anyways. Alright, let's keep moving then. Alright, so we got that. What else we got here? Directional sign. And we have fashion. Okay. Let's do this directional sign. So, directional, we see the word, you know, direction. I think direction, very common word, right? Direction, right? And this is obviously the adjective, right? So we want some sort of a sign that probably gives information, right? Signs usually give us information about something, right? So we're looking for a sign that basically gives us information about which direction to go. So a sign that gives us information about which direction to go, okay? So looking for a directional sign, a something. So something, basically this is a symbol that you would see on a sign which tells you which direction to go or which way to go, right? So if you think you know what that is, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, let me know. I'm gonna get a picture of what this is going to be. If you're not sure, think about driving. You see these kinds of signs. You see signs with the symbol often on the highway, on roads and things like that. They basically tell you, you know, where the streets are gonna go, basically, and things like that, or basically which way you want to turn in order to go to in certain directions, right? So let's see here. I gotta try to get a picture. So I'm thinking maybe like I'm thinking maybe one of these, whatever the symbol is called, you know, the symbol that points to the correct direction. So if you know what the symbol is called, let me know. Put it in the chat. This word also can be used, something else. Archers also, this is also the word, like the name of a thing that archers use as well. You know, these things, you see these things that you would shoot with a bow. Anyways, this is an arrow, right? So let's put that in here. ARROW is going to be our directional sign. So we have an arrow here on this road sign telling us which way, looks like which way the road goes. It looks like there's some sort of a turn or something. There's a bend, a curve in the road. And then arrows are also things that archers use with a bow and arrow. You can see that these ones are hitting a target, and a bunch of them have hit the bullseye. The bullseye is the middle of the target here. So yeah, alright. What else do we got here? Let's do this gallery focus. So focus basically means like in this context, sort of like the aim, like the main point of something. Alright, so the focus is like the main point of something. And what is a gallery? A gallery is a place where something is displayed, right? Are displayed, right? And typically, what kind of things are in a gallery? I think traditionally, when we think about a gallery, we think of a place where artists, maybe, or painters show their work, maybe photographers, right? So, you know, where you might have maybe famous paintings or something like that. So we're looking for a three-letter word. Three-letter word for basically the focus or the main point of a gallery. So what a gallery might focus on. So again, really easy. I think this is a pretty easy one. Let me know if you think you know what it is. Don't be shy. You can play on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. Accept answers at any one of those spots there. So whatever we might call all of this type of place with all of these paintings. There's some sculptures in here as well. You can see the sculptures on top of the pedestals. Giant paintings on the walls, paintings on canvas. They're all framed here. And it's really great gallery space. Anyways, it looks like this is an art gallery. Usually galleries display art. So the focus of galleries is typically art. So we're gonna put art in here. Put it there, right there. And we're gonna move on. So saute. Saute. This is a cooking word. Saute. So, the saute, we can see here the little accent here. But to saute basically means to cook something. Means to cook something in oil or maybe fat over heat until it gets nice and brown. So I'm going to get a kind of a picture here of what it means to saute. And there's sort of a simpler, maybe a bit more of a general word that we could use for this as well. So we're basically looking for a synonym. A synonym, that means to saute. We can see it has 3 letters, F or something, or something else for a synonym. You might typically saute vegetables for a little bit, or saute onions so they get a little bit golden brown, they get some color on them. Here we can see in this picture, this person is sauteing some onions. So we have some diced onions that are cut up in the little squares, and we have some chopped mushrooms there, right? And they're just basically sauteing them in a little bit of oil and a little bit of fat over heat, like it said. So they get a little bit of color on them. They start to maybe caramelize a little bit. Maybe the onions start to sweat out a bit, so they start to become translucent. You can start to see through them a little bit, right? So we're basically looking for another way we could describe this, sort of a simpler way. Another way we could describe this activity. So I think this is gonna be fry. There, you can fry. Because consider this that you're frying it as well too. So, of course, frying, you could take it a little bit. You could take it a bit of a step further. You can also, here for example, in this picture, you know, this person is deep frying this, where they are submerging the food in hot oil, and the whole thing gets really brown and golden and cooks that way. So they're kind of different styles of frying, right? A saute is sort of like a lighter fry. You maybe wouldn't cook it quite as much, but and then, you know, you could like fry something until it's like golden brown. Anyways, subtle differences, but yeah, so sauteing is a type of frying, basically. And what else we have here? Let's do this here. Fashion. So fashion usually refers to clothing. Well, you know, fashion, yeah, fashion usually refers to clothing, right? It's kind of like a clothing reference. So I think this word is going to be a something, kind of a word related to fashion, right? Kind of like refers to maybe how somebody wears their fashion. Wears, you know, not just like fashion, but maybe clothing, how somebody wears clothing. And, you know, how fashionable they are. Somebody who is fashionable, maybe dresses really well, they have really good taste, right? So yeah, so we're kind of looking for this, right? But this word is kind of like not just about like, I mean, fashion is also about clothing, but it could also refer to just the way of doing something. So fashion can also refer to the way of doing something. So this also has that meaning too. You know, the style in which you do something refers to the way how you do something. So if you think you know what that is, put in into the chat. Let me know. I think this one's going to be style. So the style, how we do something. The style, how we do something. So for example, here you go. Here's kind of an example with style. So Jones favors a dynamic, hands-on style of management. So the way he does his management is very hands-on, very direct. He's working with the people instead of taking sort of a more relaxed, sort of distanced approach, right? And we can also use fashion to refer to how something is sort of done. So for example, here's an example. The rebel army behaved in a brutal fashion. So the way that they were behaving was this style, this way. So very brutal, not very nice at all. Pretty terrible. Yeah. All right. So we got some style, some fashion, and let's see. I don't know if we're gonna know this word. This could potentially be a new word, but that's great. This is kind of a lesser commonly known word, I would say, but W-A-F something. So floats on the breeze, right? So we mentioned earlier that a breeze is kind of like almost like wind, a very gentle wind, right? And this one means to basically to gently move through the air. So to gently move through the air. And you know what? We often use this word specifically, to talk about really pleasant smells, actually. So, for example, a gentle breeze. Or how about this? The smell of roses. Whatever this is. W-A-F something. Something. I'm gonna put it in the past tense. Through the air. Or maybe it came through the window. So, looking for that kind of word. So, you might know this one. Usually used for, like I said, usually used for talking about smells that maybe are being carried through the air. So this word, I think this word is going to be, wafts. It's something floats nicely through the breeze, through the air. It wafts through the air. So, you know, the smell of roses wafted through the air, came in through the window, maybe. Really pleasant smell. Really nice. So, wafts. Gonna be our answer here. And this one here. Okay, so use a broom. Use a broom. All right. To use a broom. So obviously we are looking for a verb here, right? S-W-E, something, something. A broom. What is a broom? It's kind of a, it's a utensil. Not a device, but it's like an object. It is a tool, basically, that you use for cleaning, right? Typically for cleaning floors. Trying to get a picture. Here are a couple brooms. Here are a couple like old-fashioned styled brooms, right? But you can see that they have the bottom part here, those are bristles, right? And then they have a really long, this one here has a really long handle, right? And you would use that to create a specific motion for basically collecting all the dust and debris and dirt on the floor in this case, right? So we're looking for whatever that verb is. We're basically cleaning the floor. Again, if you think you know what that is, put in the chat. I am on Facebook, I'm on Twitch, I am on YouTube. You can play at either of these places. I think this is sweep. We sweep with a broom. That is that action. So you would sweep with a broom. Very common chore. A chore being like some sort of like work that you do around the house, for example. Like housework. Okay. What else do we got going on here? So Mother of Castor and Pollux. We don't really do trivia here. Uno doubled. So looks like maybe like Spanish or I think so, Spanish. So do we have anybody in here speaks any Spanish? Uno, that's what? Spanish for one? Something doubled. So basically we're looking for the Spanish doubled. We want like the Spanish word for two, basically, right? The number 2. So I think you know what that one is. Let me know. If you think you know what that is, let me know. Actually, I'm just gonna put it on here. I think I'm the only one here right now. Dos? I don't know if I said that right. But let's put that in there. That means 2. We're gonna put that in there. Okay, what else can we do here? We're of fencing, weapon, early Peruvian, dance, unit, I'm covered in frost, runs out as a subscription. Okay. Let's do this actually. So what is a turnpike? A turnpike, this is a, like, is this like a driving, a road thing? It's kind of like a place on the highway. Maybe, it's typically like a road where you have to pay. It's like a road that you have to pay to drive on, usually. So a road, so like a main road, like a highway, that you need to pay to use. So if you are driving and there is a turnpike, you would have to pay in order to access that road. So in order to do that at the you know what, like the, you know, at the beginning of that part of highway, you typically have to go through a little place where you have to pay, right? So they may have some sort of setup like this here. You can see on the you can see here on the screen where your car, you would put your vehicle through, and then they often have these little, almost like these little, they're like little houses or like these little booths where people, where the attendant stays, right? And they will take your money. So you give them their money, or sometimes you just have to scan like a card or something like that, or sometimes too they'll just sort of like take an image of your license plate. Yeah, your license plate. And you do it that way. So we are, so a turnpike site. So we're basically looking for a word that means this. So we see here TOL something 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 something. So the type of thing that you would see there. And I think it's gonna be like, see if I get a picture. Yeah, this is kind of a better picture. I think we're basically looking for the word for whatever you would call this little place, this little, you know, the little tiny house, the little office where the attendant sits, right? And then they would let you through. So whatever we're gonna call that. So if you think you know what that is called, let me know. If you think you know. I kind of gave it away a little bit earlier. When I referred to this little place as being a booth. So we may call this a toll booth. So let's put that in here. Give that a go, give that a try. See if that works out. And what else do we got here going on? So we have a dance unit. So unit, anytime that there's a unit mentioned in this crossword, they mean the part of something, or like if you were to buy something, like a section of something, or whatever the container might be. So we're looking for a dance unit, right? So if you're dancing around, you're typically, you know, you're moving your feet to the movement, right? You dance, you move your feet to the music, right? And you do various little moves and movements. Right? And there's kind of like this word, sort of like this word for kind of like how you move your feet. So this is like this unit basically refers to how you move your feet while dancing. So how you move your feet while dancing. So here, for example, this is kind of a this little image here, right? We can see, like, you know, you start here and then you move your foot over here, right? So you do one of these. That is a unit, right? And then you move your foot this way. That is like another unit, whatever this is, and keeps going. Right? So anyways, I'm gonna give a hint. It starts with an S here. And it's a word that just kind of refers to feet. Feet, the movement of the feet. So it refers to how you move your feet while you're dancing. This word also just refers to how you move in general. So, you know, if you are walking, for example, if you are running, maybe, yeah, anything like that, right? Moving our feet one foot after another. Anyways, when you are learning to dance, you learn dance steps. So I think a step is going to be our dance unit here. So let's put that in there. Alrighty. So I got some dance units. And we have a mistake here or something. Because obviously SBP is a combination that is not going to happen in English. So, but I feel good about the word step here. I think that's correct. I also feel good about this word here. So I feel like they might want a different word for the little toll hut or whatever. So maybe let's do one of the other ones and get a little bit more information, and that will help us figure out what this one is. So a place for koi. So koi are a type of fish. It's a type of like Japanese goldfish. I'm gonna get a picture. A type of Japanese goldfish. They're very pretty, very expensive. Some of them are like these crazy collector's items, and they go for like tens of thousands of dollars, things like that. But yeah, they're oh, so yeah, so I called them a goldfish. They're not a goldfish. They're a type of carp, apparently. And they're kept for decorative purposes, usually in different types of sort of like garden setups with little bodies of water. Anyways, we need a word that refers to a place where you would keep koi. Okay, so we want something something s something. I have a funny feeling 2 words here. P-O something something. So a place where we would keep koi, basically, these fish. So I think we could, this first word I think is let's see. I think the second word here, so the second word here I think is a type of body of water. Like fresh water, type of body of water. A common type you'd have in maybe a flower garden, right? Very small, so a small, we'll say a small body of water, of fresh water, typically. I don't think they're usually, yeah, fresh water that you may have in a garden. And I think this word might refer to just like, this is the type of animal that a koi is. So if you think you know what either of these are, let me know. I'm gonna get a picture really, really, really quick of what this is. So I have a little bit of an idea. Or maybe even just, oh yeah, here we go. I found a picture with a koi in it. Convenient. What are these guys? We can see here. We have this little, like this little decorative water place where we're gonna have it. Getting something really quick. Okay. Yeah, this little place where we're gonna keep some fish. So this is a pond. This is a pond. So you would have a pond. You're not gonna have a lake in your backyard. That's too big, but a pond, pretty small. And koi are a type of fish. So you would, yeah, so I think a place for koi is going to be a fish pond. So let's put it in here. Let's do that. And let's go back to this one. So this toll something that starts with an H. I'm gonna guess that maybe this word might be house, right? Because it's like a little shelter almost. So let's try that. Let's try house. If I can get to go the right way. There you go. So toll house, maybe. Give that a go. So runs out as a subscription and become covered in frost. I think we can do this one. Let's do this one. To become covered in frost. So frost is, it happens when it gets very cold and there's some moisture, like a little bit of moisture And it's just enough moisture that it then kind of freezes. And so here, for example, this picture here, right? We can see that all of these windows are frosted up. So there's just a little bit of a layer of moisture. And it got cold enough and everything kind of froze. And yeah, everything kind of, you know, it turned to whatever this is, which is a kind of a key word, a key clue for what this is going to be. So, so our answer here, so something, 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 phrasal verb here, something, basically a phrasal verb for when, you know, water freezes. Yeah, so when, you know, everything becomes a little bit of icy. If you think you know what this is, let me know. Obviously, the second word here, this is going to be a preposition, right? Because phrasal verbs, you know, it's either a preposition or maybe like an adverb, right? We have a preposition here, I think. I need to double check. Adverb, sorry, it's adverb. Ugh. Right, it is an adverb. Alright, so we have our adverb, right? And then we have this is kind of like a word for whatever this is called. Basically a word for frozen water. That helps. Alright. So we might say that it, if something becomes covered in frost, it ices up. So I think ice up is going to be our answer. So, and I know it's unusual using the word ice as a verb. We don't use it very often. Usually ice is a noun, but as part of this phrasal verb, we could use it as a verb here. And so that just basically means when things get covered in ice. So all of the windows here are iced up. They've been frozen over, and everything is all frosty. Okay. What else do we got here? So, no idea what this is. I hope this is right. Okay. I'm gonna ignore that. Runs out as a subscription. Runs out as a subscription. Alright, so a subscription. It's kind of where you pay to access something for a period of time, right? You know, and they will bill you every month for it, right? And these days, subscription services are absolutely everywhere, right? It's becoming almost impossible to just outright buy software so that you own it, right? You always have to pay for ongoing access, and it's terrible. But anyway, so you pay money to receive that product, or to have access to that product or service, whatever, for a period of time. And eventually it's going to run out. So when something runs out, it finishes in this case. So when it ends, right? So we're looking for a word that means an alternative word that we would use to say that something runs out. And we can see here that there is an S here. Runs out is conjugated, so I'm going to conjugate it here as well. Yeah, so basically mean when you know, when the period ends here, and this is kind of a bit of a more advanced word, but it is a good word to know, especially if we are at a higher level of English ability. So basically what it finishes. I will give you a hint. It starts with an L. Let's start with an L. Something. So when it finishes, this is gonna be an E. E here. Dun, dun, dun. Anyways, this word is going to be lapses. So our subscription will lapse, or when the time period finishes and you have to pay again, you have to renew. The renewal period happens once your subscription lapses. Yeah, so that is going to be a word there. Let's see here. Okay, here's an example. Here we go. So his health insurance policy lapsed for non-payment of premium. So he wasn't able to pay. He wasn't able to pay money. Sometimes you have to pay money. Well, you always have to pay money kind of upfront to get insurance. But yeah, he wasn't paying his bills essentially, and so his health insurance policy basically ended. It was no longer valid because it lapsed that way. Or here's another example here too with this word. So the association needs to win back former members who have allowed their subscriptions to lapse. So they have also stopped paying their subscriptions, so that means that their membership is no longer active. So if your subscription lapses, you are no longer able to access a service, and it can be a problem. So that is the official fancy word we would use for that, and that is a great word to know. So let's do this one here. So a really early Peruvian. I'm just gonna put this in here. That's gonna be like the Inca. They were basically a civilization, an empire in Peru. I'm gonna put that in here. And if we are aware of something, if we know something, we might be onto it. To be onto something. Let's see. Kind of like a be onto something. Trying to get a good definition of this. Okay, here we go. So to be onto something, sort of in a idiomatic phrase or sense, would basically be to discover or realize. Oh no, that's not it. I would often use it if you were onto somebody, if you were onto something, you would know that maybe something fishy is happening. You're aware that something is happening. Yeah, so we're gonna be onto something. We're gonna be aware of it. Anyways, what else do we got here going on? So we have a knight's title. Knight's title. So what kind of title a knight would use? So what the heck is a knight? A knight in, medieval times essentially would be, a protector, maybe. They would get hired, to fight on behalf of, kings and queens and important people. So that is a knight. So we're looking for a title similar to, you know, a title for a man these days would be Mr., for example. Mrs. would be for a woman, or Miss, right? Those are all examples of titles. So there's a title, sort of a specific kind of title that we might have used back in medieval times to refer to an important person, such as a knight. I'm going to give you a hint. It's, well, we can see that it starts with an S, something. It also ends in an R, so I'm just going to like put that there for us. And he's Sir. Sir is going to be that title. Refer to it as that. Okay. What else do we have here? Half of a sextet. What is a sextet? It's like a group. So, funny word here. Sextet. Sometimes we see this suffix. The suffix here. This refers to 6, right? This refers to the number 6. So it refers to the number 6, basically. So we're looking for a word that refers to half of 6. So something or something. And I believe like this sextet, it would be, we would use this word mostly for referring to like groups of musicians or maybe groups of singers, things like that, typically. So this is kind of almost like a music reference. Okay, so the suffix refers to the number 6. So this word, what is half of 6? Half of 6 is 3, right? So this word basically, this word refers to a group of 6, right? Yeah, so the suffix refers to the number of 6. So basically a musical group with 6 players or performers. And this word refers to a group of 3. My bad here. So this word refers to a group of 3 performers or musicians. So whatever that might be. So basically a musical act with 3 people. Here, for example, 3 people playing together. A duet would be 2 people playing or performing together. 2 people. Solo would be 1 person. And for 3 people would be a trio. A quartet would be 4 people. Quintet, 5 people. I guess this word is sextet. I don't even know. It's a very uncommon word. The other ones are more common. Sextet. Yeah, okay. But anyways, this refers to 6. Octet would be 8. So here it is here. All of these suffixes, or all of these prefixes refer to numbers in English. So octet. Anyways, group of 8 people. So a trio, tri refers to 3 in English. So 3 people, a trio. A group of 3 people. All right, what else do we got going on here? So Locker room speech celebrated on January 6th. Do maybe. I'll do this one really quickly. So this golf peg, golf. They love to talk about golf in this crossword. It's a game, obviously. A little game. Right, that you play with some, I hear some people playing golf. You know, they're playing it outside on the golf course. This guy is holding a golf club, hitting the golf ball. They hit the golf ball into the hole. And they try to do it in as few strokes as possible. A stroke is when you hit the ball, when you attempt to hit the ball. So there is a little thing that they use, that they put the golf ball on at the start of a round. A little peg. Usually a peg is usually a little wooden piece of something. So it's sort of like a small wooden, I don't know, thing. But basically one of these things, this little wooden thing, or sometimes they're plastic, I guess, but I think originally it was made out of wood. They would position the ball on top of it because it makes it easier to hit, because otherwise it's hard to hit in the grass. So we're looking for the name of whatever the heck this thing is called. And I'll give you kind of a little bit of an extra hint. Oh, the thing they balance the golf ball on when they first hit it. The name of this somewhat resembles its shape, right? So it is it's very tall, has a very tall, narrow base, and then the top becomes a little bit wider, right? So a long, narrow base with a top which is wider. So if that helps, it kind of there is a letter that kind of resembles this, if that helps. So if you think you know what it is, let me know. Put it in the chat. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, you can play at either of these places. Let me know. I mean, I don't know about you, but it kind of looks like this, right? So a letter with a long, narrow base, and then a top that's slightly bigger. Right? Anyways, this letter here is T if we were to spell it out, and this is also a T. A little T. We play with a golf T. Alright. So musical, is that in Argentina? Use oars. So we learned what an oar was yesterday. You were here yesterday. An oar is a type of paddle you use to move a specific type of boat. And I'm not saying it because that is the answer here, but I'm gonna give you a picture. So they're very long paddles. And see here. Get a picture. Maybe I get a picture. Let's try to see if I could get one like yesterday. But typically this type of boat will have like several of these several people all in a row that move them together, and there are 2 paddles on either side of the boat. Like this, for example, you can see there is a team, a crew here, and there are multiple paddles on either side of this boat here, and then they move them together. So if you are using the oars, so use oars. If you are using the oars, you are doing a specific type of activity. So this is going to be a verb for the for the motion. The verb for maybe the action of using the oars. So whatever this is, right? So if you are in a canoe is a little bit different. Like canoe, you have only 1 paddle and you move it. We would call that motion paddle. You would say you paddle a canoe. You also paddle a kayak as well. But this one, we use a different verb. So, different verb that refers to this motion. I think it's that way because you move the ship backwards as opposed to forward. So I think if you move it forward, you paddle it forward. Whereas because the boat basically goes backwards, you are rowing. So if we're gonna use the oars, we're going to row. That is what that is. Alright, let's do this one. So the carafe, I think I said that correctly. Carafe is not a super common word. And I really mostly know this word because it's more common in other languages. Yeah, carafe. I'm saying it right in English though. So a carafe is basically it's a type of container. It's a type of container that's used for holding liquid, okay? And it kind of has a very specific shape, actually. So not a lot of people know about this. This is not a super common word, but kind of looks like this. I'm messing up my things. There we go. So it kind of looks like this. People will call this thing by different names in English. So the carafe is not a very common word. So just FYI. But yeah, basically this is basically the type of container, and this thing is used for often for serving a very specific type of drink. So we can see here, so we have a 4-letter word, something that we would put in this. And you know, this container is actually designed in a way that you would be able to put whatever this is into it, and it kind of lets like some of the air maybe to escape, or sort of like the flavors to kind of I don't know exactly, like permeate a little bit better. The flavor becomes a little bit nicer. I don't know much about it. But yeah, there's something that something specific that we would put in there. It's an alcoholic drink. It's possible that my internet's not good. It's a type of drink that would go in there. Maybe this will give you a better idea. Here's one with the drink in there, the one that I'm thinking about. www something something something. You see in here whatever this drink is called, this alcoholic drink. Anyways, this is wine. So you would put wine in a carafe. You can also put water in it as well. So a lot of people call this a decanter as well. Although I think it's a little bit different. Anyways, but yeah, a wine. It kind of just lets the flavors kind of, I don't know, get a little bit better. I don't know the technical side of it. But it's supposed to enhance the flavor somehow if you put it in here. Anyway, so wine is going to be our answer here. Wine is going to be our answer here. Okay, and let's do this one, this track shape. I think track here refers to racing or running as a place. So a track is a place where races happen, right? So either running races, for example. Say maybe like cars, maybe bicycles, but a track is specifically, if we're talking about running, it usually has a very distinct shape, doesn't it? Let's see if I can get a picture here. Yeah, especially if we're talking about a track on a field, like a place where you would go running, maybe in a school or something. Here we go. Like, kind of like, I mean, you can see here this guy is running on the track around a sports field, right? So here it's really common at schools for them to have a track around the fields and then they can run. The track has a specific shape. They all kind of have a very specific shape. And that is what we're looking for here. We are looking for whatever this shape is. I'm gonna get another picture so maybe we can see it from above. But we can see here, so here, this image from above, it's almost like a slightly flattened circle, right? So if we've flattened it, it becomes squished a little bit, becomes longer on one side, shorter on the other side, and there is a word that refers to this shape. So I think that's what we're looking for. It starts with an O. O. A little bit of a hint, it ends in an L. So it ends in an L. I'm gonna put it here. L. There's a V in it. It's gonna be an oval. This is an oval shape. So that is that shape where the circle is slightly squished. Also an egg shape too. We might refer to it as being an egg shape, because eggs also have that shape where they're kind of longer and then wider on one side. This is an oval, we would say. And what else here do we have? I don't know what that is. Oh, okay, I know what this is. I think we talked about this. No, we didn't. Oh, we talked about it the other day, but we didn't. Workout count. So workout refers to exercising, right? Is to exercise. Alright, so workout refers to exercising. And when you're working out, you usually don't do you don't do just one one exercise, right? You usually do several. Like, you wouldn't do one push-up, for example, right? Or you wouldn't do one sit-up, right? You would repeat it, right? So, so you would repeat the exercise. So this word refers to repeating an exercise while you're doing your workout. So whatever that would be, whatever that is going to be, if you're having a hard time figuring out maybe what this 4-letter word might be, there is an S here, so I will let you know that there is an S here. Because it doesn't really give us any indication, but yeah, there's gonna be an S here. And if you're doing a workout, you would basically do reps, right? So your workout count, if you're counting, you would count reps or repetitions of an exercise. So here we go. We have reps, refers to repeating an exercise over and over again. So you may do like a set. So usually what it is, you'll do like a set of 1 rep. So maybe you'll do like I don't know, they'll tell you to do, you know, like 5 sets of 10, for example. So you will do like 10 you'll do 10 reps or 10 repetitions of push-ups, for example. Then maybe you'll take a break, or maybe you'll do a different exercise so you can rest your arms and your abs for a minute. And then you'll go back and you'll repeat that activity. So a rep refers to repeating that workout, that exercise. So rep in this case is short for repetition, so which means to repeat something. All right, so that's going to be our workout count. I have no idea what this is, but that's fine. Glossy. This word also often gets used when talking about hair. S-L-E-E something. This word often gets used to talk about hair. So when you have extremely, mine's not very good, but my hair is very long, it's very straight. Ideally, it would probably be this. So when hair, this means like when hair is very straight, maybe, and shiny. For example, let's see, very smooth. Let's try to get a picture here. Try to get a good picture. Okay, this person has great, shiny, smooth hair. There we go. We can see this person. It's very straight, very smooth, very shiny, very whatever this word is. So, if you think you know, let me know. We would also use this to maybe describe clothing as well, too. Something is really smooth. Or also, even if it's just something that's very, like, refined. We'll look at a couple examples for us in a second. But this word here, this is going to be sleek. She has very sleek hair. Yeah. So here we go. Here's the kind of the official sort of definition here. So especially of hair, clothes, or shapes. So smooth, shiny, lying close to the body, and looks really well cared for. So it's not untidy, right? No parts sticking out. So that's kind of like, mine is messy, a little bit untidy, but ideally, if it was very nice looking, it would be very sleek, right? And we can refer to it in other contexts as well. So here, for example, we might say that this car, for example, here's a picture of a car, is very sleek because the edges are all kind of nice and curved and smooth, and also the paint job is very nice, very shiny, so it has a really nice look to it, for example. See if I can also find a picture of maybe some nice clothes. I don't know. Maybe, you know, somebody looks really nice and put together. We might say that they have a nice, sleek look, and I'm struggling to find a picture, but maybe this person, for example, we might say that this person has a kind of a nice, sleek, put together look, for example. Clothes kind of, you know, hugging the body a bit, nothing's untidy, nothing's sticking out, not very messy. So could also refer to this style as being sleek. And let's do this one maybe, since we have a bunch of information here. If I can figure it out. So a locker room speech. What is a locker room? So a locker room is kind of a place, it's kind of a place in a gym where athletes go. The locker room is a place in a gym where athletes go to get changed and showered. They also maybe keep their gear, their equipment there, right? Right? Okay, so that's kind of the place where the athletes go to get ready, or even if you're just at a gym, right, you would use that to get ready before you do your workout. And if you are doing team sports, for example, say if you were playing as part of a team, and you know, you're working with a coach, for example. The coach is the person that kind of directs the team, advises their training and things like that, gives them advice about what to do. You might give them a certain speech, a certain dialogue, basically, to make your team believe that they can win, that they can do a really good job. So this two-word answer here, refers to, yeah, so a a speech that a coach would give to motivate the team, basically. Make them feel like they are great players and they can do it, and make them feel really confident and really good about themselves. Oh. Yeah. Whatever that might be. We might be able to give a guess about what this is. This word here. This second word here is related to speaking. Right, so we can see the T, the K. Probably going to be the word talk, right? You give a talk, you give a speech, right? Just another way to say a talk. Or sorry, to say a speech, right? So something talk, P-E. We might call that a pep talk. So a pep talk would be the kind of speech or talk a coach would give to a team to make them feel better. Also, too, you know, maybe if you have a friend that's feeling down, you want to motivate them, you might also give them a bit of a pep talk to make them feel like they can succeed and they can do what they've set out to do, that they can achieve the things they want. So yeah, so that's going to be a pep talk. So if you're a positive person, you're probably giving a little pep talks. Okay. I'm going to see if maybe I can move through this a little bit, potentially a little bit faster. So, because nobody's really participating. So, okay. So to take to court. So what does it mean? So to court here is a place of law, right? So a place of law. And if you take somebody to court when maybe you know, something bad has happened and you basically need a judge to determine who is right and who is wrong. So you take someone to court when you've been wronged to get maybe a judge to I guess weigh in on the case. So if you're gonna take someone to court, say for example, maybe they stole something from you and you need to, like maybe they stole money or something like that, or maybe something bad happened to you. Maybe you had an injury and you need to get them to pay your medical bills. You would take them to court, and then maybe you would have lawyers that would argue on behalf of your case, and then the judge would decide if you should get paid or not. So that process, 3-letter word, that means to take someone to court, to basically go talk with the lawyers, talk with the judge, get feedback, would be to sue. You would sue someone to take them to court. So you would go, you get feedback from the judge, and they would determine your case. What else do we got here? Customary. Let's do this customary. Customary. You can kind of see the word custom in here. That gives us kind of a bit of a hint as to what this word means. And we know that a custom kind of refers to like a traditional or normal way of doing something, right? So different cultures or different countries might have specific customs, specific ways of doing things, maybe specific customs about how to eat a meal, or maybe specific customs regarding how it is to be polite, or how you need to address your elders. All of those are kind of customs, right? So basically the traditional, normal ways of doing something. So here we go. We're basically looking for a way. We're looking for a word that means the normal, that basically means normal, or maybe like traditional, maybe regular. So typical, for example. So something like that. basically a synonym for all of these words. Very common word. We use it all the time. I think you know. And actually, usually, we use this a related word as an adverb. It's extremely common. So if we want to talk about something that happens all the time, we will use a word that is very much related to this base word here. That means typical or normal. Anyways, usual is a word that describes how things normally happen. So I'm gonna put that in here. Usual. All right. So for customary, something customary is usual or normal. Yes. Okay. What else do we have here? Devout. I know what this is, but we don't really do trivia. Oh, let's do this one, maybe. So this toy store buy. Looking for something that you would get or buy at a toy store. Starts with a D. Dun, 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 dun. This is going to be a two-letter or two-word answer thing. Something, S, something. So this is a toy you'd get at a toy store. Typically, you might buy it for a little girl, although there are plenty of boys who also enjoy playing with these kinds of things. So a two-letter word. So typically, it's a toy for girls, but not necessarily. I am not. I'm pretty open-minded, so. And another little hint too, because sometimes there are patterns in this crossword. Often the long ones are related to one another somehow. So we can see that this one was a toll house. This is probably similar, is what I'm thinking. I think that the second word here is also going to be the word house. So some sort of house. Some sort of house that you buy for kids. Gotta get a picture. We all know. I'm thinking it's kind of one of these things that you would have, or maybe a specific type of toy that you would put in here. Maybe a doll, right? So I think this is going to be a doll house here. Going to be our toy store buy. Let's put that in here. And see what else we can do here. Wily. What does wily mean? Wily, it's like when you're kind of clever. So somebody wily. So wily, not a super common word. Not a very common word, all right? But wily means basically to be really intelligent. So you're really intelligent, be really intelligent, and you use tricks maybe to achieve a goal. So to be really intelligent and use tricks to achieve goals. So So to be really intelligent and use tricks to achieve goals. So we're basically looking for a 3-letter word that kind of also means the same thing. So the word that kind of means really means, you know, this word means it's like an adjective. This is also an adjective. But yeah, an adjective that would be used to describe someone that is good at, you know, deceiving people in a clever way. So somebody who's really good at tricking people, really intelligent, good at tricking people, really clever. Yeah, so somebody who's like that, who is really good at deceiving people, kind of really intelligent, super smart, but kind of uses it in a bad way because they want to deceive people. We might call them sly. So somebody sly is gonna be kind of a good little trickster there. Yeah, what else do we got here? We could do this one. Run down. So if something is run down, this answer might be kind of a new word for us. But if something is run down, it basically means that it hasn't been cared for very well whatsoever. So for example, I'm going to give you an extreme example of something that has run down. I mean, we can see here this house is completely run down. It looks like it's been pretty much abandoned, right? It's been neglected. It's now dilapidated, right? Because it is falling apart. It hasn't been there. Nobody has been upkeeping it, so nobody has been taking care of it. So that is an extreme example of something being kind of run down. Maybe we might use, especially this here, we might use it to refer to maybe a bar or something. Like a bar that has kind of been, not, like, that hasn't been, kept really nicely or something like that. So here, for example, a rundown bar or place, right? Maybe a little bit sketchy. So there is kind of a word that we might use as well to refer to a bar that's kind of a little, or maybe even just like a place, like an apartment building or something like that, or just sort of like a location. So this is also an adjective. But yeah, a place that is kind of a bit run down, maybe a little bit dirty, maybe a little bit scary because maybe it seems a bit dangerous. So run down, dirty, scary because maybe it seems dangerous. So we're looking for a word that describes this. This is kind of a bit more of an advanced word, I would say. However, it is definitely a common, very common word. Definitely a word that I would use. I get kind of like a picture of what I mean. Yeah, where it seems like maybe it would be kind of sketchy. I like to use the word sketchy as well too. Maybe potentially a little bit dangerous. Dangerous or bad in some way. Anyways, we might refer to this as being a seedy bar. It is seedy, or a seedy apartment building. Could also be kind of dirty. Not a really bad place. And I'm gonna do this one really quickly. This word that means to evict. If you evict someone from, say, an apartment, you basically say that you remove them. you kick them out. So you basically kick them out. So you remove them from the premises. They are no longer welcome there. You evict them. Typically, you evict tenants from an apartment. So you evict tenants from an apartment. So people who are renting an apartment, you would maybe evict them because they stop paying rent or whatever like that, or maybe they're being too noisy. Then you would kick them out, you would evict them. So this is a super less common word. Something something. When we can see that there's an S here as well, so there's gonna be an S here. But another word. This is way less common, but basically also means, let's just do the actual, just like the base verb. But this word means to force someone out of a place, right? So basically to force people out kind of against their will, basically. And this is not a super common word, but not a bad one at all. This one is going to be oust. So you oust someone out of a place. You basically force them out against their will. So here's kind of an example of this word in context. So last year's NCAA winners have been ousted from the tournament. So they have been kicked out. They've been forced out of the tournament, the championship. Here's another one. Police are trying to oust drug dealers from the city. So they are trying to kick them out. They are trying to get them away from the city. So this is not a super common word. But you can also get ousted from a group, for example, from a social group. Maybe they people in the group kind of work in a way that they eventually kind of alienate you from the group. You can also get ousted from a job position, for example, so forced to leave your position. So that's kind of how we would use that word. I'm just gonna put this in here. This is celebrated on January 6th. This is a Christian religious holiday. I'm not sure if it's celebrated in any of the other Abrahamic religions. I'm not sure. But this is Epiphany. Is celebrated on January 6th. I think mostly with like Catholics or something. I am not sure. I am not super knowledgeable about the things. But let's see what else here. Parcel out. An old Italian coin. Script, in order to spot. Let's do this really quickly. In order to spot. So in English, spot. Actually, we kind of have like a bit of a clue here. We can see that spot here is capitalized. You see this? We have a capital letter here for spot. And we know it's a name here. So the capital letter in this word indicates that it is a name. And in English, Spot is a common name for a dog. Spot is a common name for a dog. Actually, maybe not so much nowadays, but there are some words though that are typically, or some names that are typically associated with being dog names. So Spot is one of them. Maybe like Fido, that's another one. Fido. Sure, there's a couple other ones. Not really coming to me, but Spot is a name for a dog. And an order is an instruction, right? Like a command, right? So this word is a command that you would give a dog. All right, so if you had a pet dog, you will do typically like lots of different, you would train them to do various tricks, right? And there are these different commands that you would give them. So maybe one example of a command could be sit. I almost said the answer. That is one example of a command, to sit. Maybe lay down. Also another command that you might give a dog. You might also tell them to speak, which would, the dog would bark, right? So you would say speak, the dog would bark. So a couple different ones. This one here, this command specifically, you would give if you wanted the dog to remain in its current position. So you wouldn't want the dog to move. So this command asks the dog, or tells the dog, to not move from its position. So whatever that command is going to be. So they're going to remain where it is. They are not going to move. The dog is going to stay. All right, so stay is going to be our order to spot. So there we go. Stay. And perfect. All right. What else do we got here? So, ripped. All right, ripped. Yes. Past form of a verb, right? So we can see here that we have the ed ending, indicates it's like a past form, maybe a past participle, right? So we also know that this word is going to be a past form or a past participle of a verb as well. So, and what does it mean if something is ripped? So if something is ripped, at least when we're talking about, you know, paper maybe, or clothing, it means that it's kind of been almost like pulled apart, right? Maybe there are like big slices or kind of holes in it, or maybe it's been divided into two parts, right? So here are some jeans that have been ripped, right? So you can see that we have these big jagged holes in them. Because it's been sort of torn apart using the hands, the edges are very jagged, right? They're not smooth edges, but very jagged. Here as well too, right? The edges are very jagged. So we're looking for another word to describe this. So, and again, it's going to be the past form or the past participle of whatever this verb is. And we can see that it ends in N. So, whatever that is going to be. So I think this is going to start with a T, right? Going to start with a T. Oops, T. I think this word is going to be torn. All right, so tear, going to be the base form of that verb, right? Tore, they're going to be the past form of that verb, and then torn is the past participle of tear. So a great opportunity to review some of our irregular past verbs, but that is going to be torn. All right, so tear, tore, torn. These pants have been torn. They're all shredded, and this paper has also been torn. It is kind of falling off the wall there. And what else do we have here? No idea what that is. I think the old Italian coin was the lira, so I'm just gonna put that in there. And this here, to parcel out something. So if you parcel out something, it basically means to distribute something. Maybe you have like a whole, like you have a bunch of things. Maybe you have a bunch of food. So you divide, and then you would divide it up. So to parcel out means to divide something out and then distribute it to you know, people. So that's basically what it means to parcel out something. So maybe you're taking food, maybe you're taking money. You divide that money into smaller pools of money or smaller packages of food, and then you would give it to people. Maybe people that need that food, need that money. So there is another word that basically refers to this. Something L-O-T. Something L, something O-T. Basically means same thing. So basically means to, like, a kind of a fancy word, maybe a more formal word. Great word to know, though. That means that you are sharing maybe specific resources, and you are dividing them among various people. So this word here is a lot. So you would allot something. So for example, I put this in a couple of sentences because this is kind of a more of an advanced word, but it is a great word. Great word to know. So they allotted a separate desk to everyone. So they gave everyone a desk. So everybody had some. Let's see, what else? What else can we say? Here we go. Maybe the board, so the board of a committee or something, allotted $5,000 to the recreation center. So they had a much larger pool of money, and then they took part of that and they distributed it to the recreation center. So they parceled it out to the recreation center. They allotted it to the recreation center. So that is what that is going to mean. All right, we're almost done here. What this is? I don't know what this is. No idea. Okay, anyways, that's fine. Home of the Braves. So this is a sports reference. I think we did this one though. We're gonna do this one. Let's do this one. So if you are isolated, you are removed from other people. You are far away from people or something, right? So something isolated. Isolated is far away from other things. It is distant, right? Right, so it's distant, far from other things. So we're basically looking for a word. That means that something is kind of separate, right? Separate or isolated, basically far from others. So if you are isolated, if you are not with anybody else, nobody else around, you are probably alone, right? I'm gonna put alone up here and plop it in here. Or maybe not. Maybe that is not gonna be alone. Because I think this is gonna be something else. Alright, that's fine. Let's I'm gonna put this here. I think it does start with an A because I know what the answer to this is. But a sad drop. A drop. Usually drop is a verb, right? But a drop can also be a noun. So a drop, when we're talking about it as a noun, is usually like used for liquid. So here, for example, here is a drop of water. All right. So we're looking for the name, this word here, this 4-letter word. Basically the name of water droplets that happen when you are sad, when you're feeling that emotion, right? So if you are sad, you're really upset, you might be crying, right? You might be crying, right? And there's water that comes out of your eyes, right? You're so sad, you're so upset, right? So we're looking for that name of the water that comes out of your eyes, right? So one of them would be a tear. A tear is a drop of water that comes out of your eyes when you are sad. So I'm gonna put that in there. We have capital of Italia. I'm gonna do this one, actually. We're gonna do this one. And then we'll talk about this one for a second. So a saloon. A saloon is not a super common thing today. But back in sort of during the period, especially when America was founded, there would be these bars that you know, they would go, they would get something to drink, right? You know, where cowboys would go and things like that. Here is an image, sort of an old style Western saloon. So basically a place to get a beer, right? So we're basically looking for a synonym. I think I actually already said it unintentionally. But we're basically looking for a synonym for whatever this is. Basically a place to get an alcoholic drink. So for example, a beer, usually, maybe a shot of whiskey. Something like that. So basically a synonym. We can see that it ends in an R. Ends in an R. It's gonna be a bar. A bar is a place where we can get an alcoholic drink. And these days we don't call them saloons anymore. But a bar is a modern saloon. And again, saloons you would only find in you know, the old west. You see them in old western movies and things like that. The Wild West. Anyways, so capital of Italy is Rome, right? But Italia, the Italian word for Italy. So this is actually going to be Roma. This is what it is in Italian. So let's put that there. And actually, okay, I see what this is now. So let's go back up to our little conversation here about being alone. So we're looking for another word that means to be separate. To be separated. Isolated or separated from other people. So basically the opposite of being together. So you know, if you are not together with someone, if you are not in the same place as them, but you are far away from them, you are apart from them. So apart. This is gonna be apart. Yeah, there we go. So we got apart. What else we got here? This is Ahab. I'm gonna put some of these in here. Okay, let's do this here. This Andean animal. So anything Andean is related to the Andes, which is a mountain range in South America. So the Andes, and notice how I'm saying the Andes, because we always refer to mountain ranges with an article, right? So the Alps, the Rocky Mountains, the Andes, the Alpines. Sure, there are other ones. My geography is not amazing, but yeah. So the Andes in South America, and we're looking for a very common animal that's found in the Andes. It is a similar. This animal is related to the camel, I think. They're kind of similar. Or an alpaca. I think these are all kind of in the same family. Anyways, they're these big kind of furry things. People will ride them and stuff like that. Use them as pack animals. Kind of one of these guys. So we can see here that it starts with a something A-M-A. Whatever the heck this is. And just because I'm curious, I just want to see if these are actually related to camels or not. Because I'm not quite sure. Like if they're closely related. They are related, apparently. So that is accurate. Okay. Anyways. So similar family to camels or alpacas. This is a llama. A llama would be, and it's weird because it has a double L. What a weird way to spell that. But it is what it is. So a llama is gonna be here. And then we want another word that means buddy. Buddy. A buddy is a very sort of informal way to say friend. So I might say, this is my buddy John, for example, if I am introducing a friend in a very informal setting. So it's a very kind of nice, informal way to refer to a friend. So we're looking for another word. Something. P. Something. L. That also refers to a buddy or refers to a friend. Also kind of another informal, sort of informal word. Yeah. Informal word. We'd also use this to just address, to address someone as well, so to refer to them. But this word is a pal. So pal is another friend. We might say, you know, this is my best pal. My best pal. Informal way to refer to a friend. And we can also use pal kind of in a funny way. I was just reminded because I looked for an example really quickly here. Look here, this look pal, you're asking for trouble. So we could also, so if somebody is annoying to us, especially if you're talking to a man, so if that man is kind of annoying, I mean, it's not it's not super aggressive, but it's kind of a way to refer to a man that is maybe annoying you. So this here is like, look, pal, you're asking for trouble, or listen, pal, you better get out of my face, or hey, pal, you better get out of here. So we could use it that way as well. So here, that's sort of like the official definition of this use. So used when talking to a man, sometimes in a friendly way, but more often to somebody who's annoying you. So it's kind of a way to refer to them or address them, because you probably don't know their name, right? Well, maybe. But yeah, you refer to them as pal if they're kind of annoying you. You want them to go away. Alright, so I think the most of this is just trivia. So a Nevada, California lake is Lake Tahoe. I'm gonna put that in here. Home of the Braves. The Braves is it baseball? I think it's baseball. It's a sports team. Yeah, it's, I had to like double check. It's baseball. The Braves are a baseball team. The Atlanta Braves, Atlanta. So Atlanta is a city, major city in the United States. And this is an animal. Means, I don't even know how to say it. I'm gonna find out really quickly. Ermine. Oh, actually. So this isn't an animal, but it refers to the fur of a type of animal. The fur of a type of animal. That's like often used for like royal sort of clothing. I'm gonna like give you kind of a picture here. This here is urban. You can see here with this spot. But there are some animals that they get fur from, and the answer for this question is one of these little guys, which is a type of little critter. Which I believe is called a stoat. Yeah, it's a small little thin animal that has brown fur in summer, white fur in the winter, and they sometimes farm them for clothing. Anyways, I think that's what that is. There we go. So there we have it. So great job. Yeah, all right. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Those of you who have been watching, I really appreciate your support. If you found this interesting, be sure to give it a like and a thumbs up, and let the world know. I really appreciate it. I really like it when people participate. So I've been trying to get the word out about this. So if you know anybody who you think would benefit from this kind of activity, be sure to pass it along. Feel free to share this video if you're on Facebook to your favorite English learning group so they can come out and enjoy this as well. I'd really appreciate it. All right. Tomorrow I'm not going to be doing a crossword, but I am going to be back to do a live stream. I'm going to be reading the next article in my series, my conversation class series. So I'm going to be looking at an article about distractions. So that article is called Why Getting Distracted Can Be a Good Thing. I'm going to be looking at this tomorrow at 1300 UTC. So same time when this started, but checking out that article instead. So what's going to happen is I am going to go through that article. I am going to read it. You're going to be able to hear the pronunciation of the words. I'm going to discuss any vocabulary, interesting phrases, things that come up, and sort of basically do a bit of a summary about that article. And then if you want to book a conversation class, you can do so before January 22nd. You can go to my website. Let's see. I have some links here. You can either go to my website at www.getspeakingenglish.com, or you can go directly to my scheduling page at getspeakingenglish.as.me, and you can book a conversation class before January 22nd and do a conversation based on that article with me. You could also, if you would like to get even more feedback, more activities and information from me, you could also do it as a lesson as well. So I know I have some students that love getting feedback on their writing, or they really want to focus on using the vocabulary, focusing on the grammar from the articles. So you can do that as a lesson if you'd like as well. So all of that is available until January 22nd. So I'll be looking at that tomorrow during the live stream, so you can better understand that article in preparation for your class. Or you can also use that information to talk about some of the speaking prompts and things that I've been sharing recently as well. I'm also just having a sale right now about a sale of conversation classes. So right now I am starting, I'm just sharing things about entertainment now, but my last topic was about sustainability. So I went back and I compiled all of the articles together, as well as the articles I did over the summer. So I've put them together as a list. So if you want to buy a package of conversation classes, you can do so before January 20th. You'll be able to get a discount on the regular price, so the prices are 25% off the normal price. So if you want to get a package, you can also find information about that either on the website or on the scheduling page. You can check out the list of articles there as well. The list is linked on the website, and you can also find the list on Telegram as well, because I am always active on Telegram. Anyways, that's it. So yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to be back, like I said, going to be back with the article, and then the next time I will be doing a crossword is on Wednesday. So I will be back for another crossword on Wednesday at 1300 UTC at these same places. All right, anyways, I hope you have a really good weekend. Thanks so much for coming out, those of you who are here. Thanks for watching, anybody watching afterwards, and I appreciate your support, and I can't wait to get speaking English with you. All right, bye everybody.